Good evening. Parashat Noah, Part 2. V'shem Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach. This shiur is dedicated for all the wounded, for refuah shlema, for all the wounded from the war, and for the safe return of all the hostages. And le'ilui nishmat, to all those who were killed in this war. And for the Shemirah, the protection and the safety of our soldiers and Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael. So Rabbi Friedman explains that in the Gemara Sanhedrin, it says that Noah, really he was supposed to have died in the Mabul. That's really very surprising. In the flood. And he was saved because of one mitzvah that he performed. This mitzvah gave him chen, gave him gracefulness in the eyes of Hashem. He found favor in the eyes of Hashem. The obvious question is, wait a minute. It says in the pasuk, Noach ish tzaddik tamim bedorotav, that Noah was a tzaddik. So, why did he deserve to die? And how did he find favor in the eyes of Hashem? What saved him? So the Orach Chaim HaKadosh explains. Orach Chaim HaKadosh explained at the end of Parashat Bereshit that even though Noah was a tzaddik, but his deeds were not enough to cancel out Hashem's decision to destroy the world. And that means that Noah too was supposed to be destroyed in the world, with the world. As it says that Hashem had regrets at having created man. Man had sinned too much. Orach Chaim teaches us that there are a few mitzvot which by performing them, a person can get a gift. What is that gift? The gift of chen from Hashem. To be graceful, to find favor. So the Orach Chaim says, Ki hagam shehaya tzaddik, even though he was a tzaddik, lo tatzilenu tzidkato. His tzidkato, it means all his good deeds could not save him. Ela b'chinat hachen shehisig b'chinat hamitzvot. The only thing that actually saved him was the zechut of certain mitzvot. כי יש לך לדעת, כי יש מצוות שתועלתם היא להמשיך חן על האדם. That there are certain mitzvot that actually by performing this mitzvot, Hashem gives us a gift, and that gift is chen. או בבחינת ג' או 4 mitzvot. There are about 3 or 4 mitzvot, the Orach Chaim HaKadosh says. So Hashem's initial plan was to destroy every human being, Noah included. Every single animal, bird, creeping things, everything. Hashem really was having second thoughts about having made and created them, men and animals and birds and everything else. So Chachamim explain, and the Zohar, the mitzvah that saved Noah, listen, was Shabbat. Wow. So how important is Shabbat? The name Noah comes from menucha. Noah means something that is pleasant, something restful. This is the day that we rest. Shabbat, right? We rest on Shabbat. The Zohar says Noah corresponds to the day of Shabbat. That means that Shabbat saved Noah. Shabbat is a day that everything comes together. It unites. Everything unites. Everything comes together. The generation of Noah destroyed the world by their sins to the point that even the animals were not behaving properly. Animals are supposed to marry only, to mate only with their own kind, like a dog with a dog, not a dog with a cat, but that's what happened. And Noah supported the world because he kept Shabbat. So what saved Noah? Shabbat. Every week, when Shabbat is observed, we renew the creation as Shabbat keeps the world going from one week to another, and on and on and on. It was like a condition that Hashem put in place. Shabbat has to be observed. The week leads to Shabbat. But once Shabbat comes, has to be Noach, Menucha, a day that we cannot do what we do every day. Business, going, coming, doing all kind of, we can't. So since the creation of the world, Shabbat was always observed by at least one tzaddik. At least one tzaddik. Or else the world would have stopped to exist. The Or HaChaim says, it started with Adam, then Shet, his son. After him came the other tzaddikim, Metushelach, and then Noah, and Abraham. And later on, when Ben Israel with the Avot, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Yaakov taught his children, and so on. So that later, we always see that Shabbat was observed. Always. Shabbat was observed even before Matan Torah. The Sfat Emet brings the Midrash that when Hashem saw that the world the Sfat Emet says that when Hashem saw the world on Shabbat, the way he thought it would be, the way he imagined it would be, and that's exactly how it was when Adam observed it in Gan Eden, outside of Gan Eden, the very first Shabbat of creation. Hashem got so much pleasure. Hashem said, Olami, Olami, my world, my world. Halevai, tehe ma'alat chen lefanai bechol et. Halevai, that you should find favor before me at all times. כשם שהעלית חן לפניי בשעה זו. Just as you found favor before me at this time. What was the time that Shabbat was observed? Adam HaRishon had observed Shabbat. Wow, what a pleasure that was for Hashem. The observance of Shabbat assures that the world will be pleasing to Hashem, and thereby Hashem will be motivated and prompt to renew creation for the next week, next 6 days until the next Shabbat, because Hashem will be anticipating. He's waiting to see the world, how the world keeps Shabbat. So in this zechut of Shabbat, Hashem saved Noah from the Mabul, so that Noah and his family would continue life and creation in the world. We are called Bnei Noah. Every single human being is called Bnei Noah, really, because Noah saved men by keeping Shabbat. So he saved himself and his family, and then they populated the world. So everyone came really from Noah. Later on, right, Bnei Noach, now we call them, are the non-Jews, and we are called Bnei Israel, the Yehudim. So may Hashem help us all to keep Shabbat 100%. A Shabbat that is filled with shalom, with learning, with kedusha, with growth. And in this zechut of Shabbat, may Hashem save Eretz Israel and Am Israel and bring Mashiach soon. One more Shabbat and we will be free. As one of the singers, I can't remember which one sings it. One more Shabbat and we'll be free. So Be'ezrat Hashem, one more Shabbat. But we need to remember, just not doing anything is not good enough. We cannot do work, but at the same time, we have got to fill our Shabbat with learning, with talking about the parasha, with saying Tehillim, with being with the family, having shalom. And Be'ezrat Hashem, Hashem will send our Mashiach soon.